The solar system is a huge place full of planets, dwarf planets, moons, asteroids, and other space debris. But as humans, it is important for us to figure out which ones are the best and which ones are the worst. This is the ultimate solar system tier list ranking the sun, all planets, and dwarf planets. In our tier list today, we've got several tiers, starting out with S tier. This tier is reserved for objects that are either habitable or essential to the formation of our solar system. Then we got fascinating tier. This is for things that really have interesting traits, orbits, or atmospheres, or something that really sets them apart. Then we got interesting tier for an object that is somewhat interesting but not cool enough to be fascinating. We got boring tier for objects that may have one interesting thing about them but are overall boring. Then we finally got dumb space rock tier. This of course is for celestial objects that are overall a boring space rock. With that out of the way, let's jump into number 1 on our list. The sun is obviously the most important object in our solar system and therefore has to go in S tier. Nothing else would exist without the sun. Its gravity allowed for the formation of every other object in our solar system. It gives off light that we see during the day and gives us the heat that allows us to exist. It is essential to everything that exists on our planet and the reason for everything else. Mercury is the closest planet to the sun and therefore is constantly being blasted with huge amounts of radiation. Surface temperatures here range from 800 degrees Fahrenheit during the day to 290 degrees Fahrenheit at night. Mercury contains no atmosphere and definitely no life forms. A year on Mercury lasts just 88 Earth days, and its year lasts 176 Earth days. It's not the most exciting planet on this list, so therefore it's going in boring tier. Venus, on the other hand, is actually quite fascinating. Venus is named after the Roman god of love and fertility, is referred to as Earth's sister planet sometimes due to their similar size and mass. But Venus has a vastly different atmosphere. The atmosphere makes Venus the hottest planet in our solar system despite being farther away from the sun than Mercury. This planet is so hostile that it melted a Soviet spacecraft in less than an hour, 26 minutes to be exact. Venus also rotates backwards in comparison to the other planets. Venus is pretty cool and mysterious, but not quite cool enough to make it in the S tier. Let's call it fascinating. Earth is the only known planet that not only contains liquid water on its surface, but is also the only planet capable of supporting life. Fun fact, the Earth is the only planet not named after a Roman deity. Our planet also has the perfect mixture of gases to support life and also has a sick magnetic field that protects us from all those dangerous solar radiations. It's the easiest S tier planet on this list. Mars is the Roman god of war, and is fitting because Mars appears to be blood red when looked at. Much like your 1997 Honda Civic, this reddish color comes from the surface being covered in rust. Mars has seasons just like Earth, which is kinda cool, but they last twice as long. Mars is also home to Olympus Mons, the largest volcano in the solar system and is nearly 3 times the height of Mount Everest. The dust storms on Mars are the most extreme in our solar system, often engulfing the planet for months at a time. While the planet is interesting, I can't say it's fascinating. Interesting tier. Named after the Roman god of agriculture, Ceres is a dwarf planet and is the only dwarf planet located within the inner solar system. And I would bet many of you watching have never even heard of it. Looking at Ceres, you may see these bright spots, and NASA did too, so they went there with the Dawn missions and discovered that they were just salt deposits. Ceres contains about 1/3 of the entire mass located in the asteroid belt, but let's be real, the coolest thing about Ceres is its location and the fact that hardly anybody knows about it. Dumb space rock. Jupiter in Roman mythology is the god of thunder and storms and is also the king of all other gods, which is fitting because Jupiter is the king of all other planets. It is the largest and oldest body in our solar system behind the sun. If you were looking to feel insignificant today, you could just remember that you can fit 1,000 Earths inside of Jupiter. Jupiter is comprised mostly of helium and has a giant storm on its surface that has been raging for at least 400 years. It also rotates faster than any other planet, completing one rotation in under 10 hours. Jupiter has at least 95 moons, with the new ones being discovered all the time. Jupiter is enormous and beautiful and therefore lands in the interesting tier. Saturn is another huge gas giant and is named after the god of time in ancient Roman mythology. Saturn is most recognizable for its intensive layers of rings that circle the planet. They're comprised of ice particles, rock, debris, and dust. Despite its enormous size, Saturn would actually float in water if placed in it, because it is the least dense planet. Saturn also has some of the largest number of moons in our solar system, with a confirmed 274 of them. Titan stands out specifically because its atmosphere is even stronger than Earth's. One day, humans could possibly live there. Saturn is my personal favorite planet, and therefore I'm going to place it in the S tier. Hey, if you're liking this video so far, please feel free to give me a like or a sub if you're enjoying it. You boys at 140 subscribers right now, I'd love to be at 1,000, so please help me get to that goal. Thanks. Anyway, Another planet that has rings but are much harder to see is Uranus, named after the Greek god of the sky and the countless giggles of middle school students. Uranus is the coldest planet in our solar system despite being closer to the Sun than Neptune. It is comprised of hydrogen, helium, and methane gas. The reason it appears to be this color is because its methane atmosphere is absorbing red light. Also, unlike other planets, Uranus rotates on its side. This was likely caused by a massive collision in its ancient past. Not a ton to talk about here, even its moons are boring, so we're going with boring tier. Neptune is the god of the sea, and we can see why the planet is named that, because it appears to be a giant ocean. But in reality, its blue color is caused by methane, much like Uranus, but is a much deeper blue color. Neptune was the first planet discovered by mathematical prediction than it was by observation. You nerds out there will absolutely love that. It also has the strongest winds in the solar system, reaching speeds of over 1,200 miles per hour, or something in kilometers, I don't know, I'm American. Neptune is very similar to Uranus, but does have a fairly large moon called Triton. And Triton even has an atmosphere, which makes it slightly more interesting than Uranus, so we're going to go in interesting tier. I think if any planet has been done dirty by modern science, it's definitely Pluto. If you're as old as I am, you may remember learning about it in school and Pluto being the 9th planet, but in 2006 Pluto was demoted to being a dwarf planet. Pluto in Greek mythology was the god of the underworld. The pictures taken of Pluto by New Horizons show a beautiful surface. Pluto has a huge moon as well, Charon. It's half the size of Pluto and sometimes considered to be a binary system because they both orbit a single point between them. Pluto has 4 other moons as well, but they're not of much note to be honest. The orbit of Pluto is so elliptical that it sometimes is closer to the Sun than Neptune. I like Pluto and I won't do it dirty like those scientists have. It goes in the fascinating tier. The next 3 objects on this list you may not be familiar with, but that's okay, because I'm here to rep the dwarf planets. Often underappreciated and forgotten, but not by me. The first thing you might notice about Haumea is its shape, and how could it have rings being so small? And why does it have moons? And what's that giant red spot on it? Okay, there's lots of questions about Haumea, which is what makes it so interesting. Fun fact, one day on Haumea is only 4 hours long. Also, it's named after a Hawaiian goddess instead of a Greek or Roman one. Fascinating tier. If naming the dwarf planets were up to me, I would have named Makemake the space grape, but no one asked me before they named celestial objects. Makemake was discovered in 2005 and was named after the creator god of the people of Eastern Island. Makemake is one of the reddest objects in our solar system due to the frozen methane on its surface. Makemake also has at least 1 moon discovered in 2016. It's so far away that it takes 305 Earth years to make 1 orbit around the sun. I would like to rank it higher, but it's a dumb space rock, let's be honest. Or even a dumb space grape. Iris is the most massive dwarf planet and is even slightly more massive than Pluto. Its discovery in 2005 led to the classification of Pluto as a dwarf planet. So now we know who to blame. Iris is even farther away from the sun than Makemake and takes 557 Earth years just to make 1 orbit. Iris does have a moon named Dysnomia, which is kind of interesting but is still ultimately a dumb space rock. So here it is, the tier list for every single planet, dwarf planet, and sun in the entire solar system. Let me know if I'm right, let me know if I'm wrong, tell me if you agree, and if you want to use this tier list, I have it linked down in the description. So please give me a like or give me a sub. And if you want to, click on this link. YouTube thinks that you'll like this video over here in the corner.